what the media is showing right now is white European people fleeing, right? That's what I'm seeing right now on the news. I'm not really seeing too many black or brown people. So I guess you could kind of say, you know, we're getting what they want us to get, you know. So
yeah. Hey, welcome to the BG Show. It's your boy BG, and honestly, I'm gonna just say it. I'm feeling a type of way right now because we got a lot to talk about on the show today, including one hot topic about how the media is literally out here showing its biased bumcrack to the world with how they're reporting on Ukraine and Russia and their attempt to suppress certain stories from coming out. We'll get into that, but we're also talking about why are employers forcing people to go back into the office? Do you guys want to go back?
I've been in the office. If you worked in the media, you've been in the office this whole time.
I'm pretty comfortable at home.
I'm not surprised. No, we love having Chris back on the show, and who here loves Big Brother Canada? Well, the show's new and 10th season just launched, and we're talking with host and my girl Arisa Cox, and she's spilling all the tea on what to expect this season. But first, do your boy a favor. Subscribe to this channel, tap that notification bell, and make sure to follow us on all of our social media. The details are where, Dev?
In the description below, but you should already be following us.
Ooh, okay, I like that. All right, is the media biased in its coverage on the Russia-Ukraine crisis? That's the question I'm asking you. Because we've all been following Russia's war on Ukraine, and safe to say we all feel a type of way.
It's definitely biased.
The whole conflict's devastating, but there's obviously media bias in some of the coverage that we're seeing right now.
Listen, this is why I love Auntie Dev, because she understands the assignment. And listen, I think it's all safe to say that Ukraine didn't ask for this mess, but I'm also so turned off by how legacy media has been reporting on this story. Reporters are really out here saying that the world should be shocked because the people with blonde hair and blue eyes are being bombed, or that nobody expected something like this to happen in a civilized place like Ukraine when compared to places like Iraq and Afghanistan. Don't believe me? Roll the receipts.
This is not a developing third world nation. This is Europe.
These are prosperous middle-class people. These are not people trying to get away from areas in North Africa. They look like any European family that you would live next door to.
What could be a difference here from other conflicts, you know, that could seem very far away, you know, in Africa or Middle East or whatever. I mean, these are Europeans that we're seeing being killed.
This isn't a place, with all due respect, you know, like Iraq or Afghanistan. You know, this is a relatively civilized, relatively European, I have to choose those words carefully too, city where you wouldn't expect that or hope that it's going to happen.
These are reporters from some of the biggest networks in the entire world.
To me, it's really weird that people are talking about, both in the media and just out in the world, about how they don't understand how something like this is happening in Ukraine, because Ukraine's in Europe. Where did World War I and World War II kick off?
Exactly.
That's just, to me, that's the first thing I think of. When I think of war, period, that's what I think of, World War I and World War II.
It's so part of European identity. And so I think for me is like when I'm listening to like these comments from these reporters, what comes to my mind is like they're not even trying to hide their bias anymore. Like that reporter that called Ukraine civilized in comparison to Iraq and Afghanistan. And then he went on to say he's choosing his words carefully.
This is a relatively civilized, relatively European, I have to choose those words carefully too, city where you wouldn't expect that or hope that it's going to happen.
Like, what are you even talking about? Like, it's giving white supremacy to me.
But to me, it's like when I think about it, I don't even think about like they're not hiding it. It's the level of ignorance that they don't understand that it's there in the first place. Like they actually don't think there's anything wrong with what they're saying.
We also saw how certain stories out of Ukraine were not being reported on, or people were actually trying to silence those stories. And yes, I'm talking about all of the African students and the Indian students who were being discriminated against as they too were trying to flee Ukraine. Dev, we were talking about this and it was wild how many news outlets, like literally, and how many people on social media were trying to say this was fake news, that's fake news.
There were so many people on social media, including we saw politicians saying that this wasn't happening. That
right here in Canada. Right here in Canada. So a nurse, literally an African nurse that we had on the show on News You Can Use, who was talking about the whole nursing crisis here in Ontario.
Forgot, yeah.
Exactly. She went to Twitter she was one of the first people to sound the alarm on what was happening in Ukraine with African students. And literally there was this MPP from Mississauga, her name is Nat Kusindova. She went onto Twitter and told her that she needs to take down her tweet because she's spreading misinformation, as if these people's stories don't matter. The painting of this entire story is like good versus evil, but like in that narrative that mainstream media is trying to paint, who gets left out of the picture? Who gets left out of the story? And I think that's what really upsets me. And when we actually went to the streets and talked to people about that, they also were like, this is why I raise my eyebrow every time I watch the news. Take a listen. Have you been keeping up with the Ukraine-Russia crisis?
A little bit.
How do you feel the media has been in reporting on it?
I don't know. I don't think they portray the whole picture, and they don't give both sides of the stories and things like that.
We wish that they would cover all the wars in an equal measure.
How do you feel like the media has been in reporting on the issue?
I don't know. It's kind of patchy. It's
actually helping, isn't it, Halls? The media, for once?
I do think
it's actually doing a good thing.
Yeah. Had you heard of the discrimination that some African students there and Indian students were facing trying to leave Ukraine? Have you heard about that story?
No, I have not heard about that story.
You hadn't heard about it, eh?
No, not at all. I do follow it a lot. I haven't really heard anything about that too much yet. You know, from what I'm seeing.
Is it shocking that you haven't heard about that?
Yeah, it actually is. It's very shocking because what the media is showing right now is white European people fleeing. Right, that's what I'm seeing right now on the news. I'm not really seeing too many black or brown people. So I guess you could kind of say, you know, we're getting what they want us to get. You know, so
yeah. So here's where I'm at. At the end of the day, we're all still going to feel empathetic for Ukraine, right?
For sure, of course, yeah.
But I think it's just really sad that even in war, people still find the time to ooze out racism. And I think the worst part is that part of that racism was actually in the information that the news is feeding you. Here's the question: do you think the media has been biased in its reporting? Let us know in the comment section right now. Okay, shall we lighten the mood a little bit here?
Dev, are you ready for the mood to be lightened?
I'm ready to talk about the next topic.
Okay, let's do it.
I'm ready to talk about the next topic.
Let's do it.
So do you think it's time for Canadians to head back into the office? After almost 2 years from working from home, some employers are literally telling their people that they have to come back indoors and they have to leave their humble abodes of their houses. Chris, we know that you like to be at home. Do you find like you're more productive at home though?
I do. You know, there was a bit of a learning curve, I'll be completely honest, but I've settled in. I don't need to readjust my situation now.
Okay, that's interesting. Dev, we kind of work, we have a hybrid here.
We do have a hybrid model, and I think it's weird to force people to go back when you could at least continue a hybrid model. Like, we've been doing it, like you said, for almost 2 years. What's the rush?
Is it necessary to be at the office? Because if you're still getting as many things done and you're still as productive as you were prior to the pandemic, what is the actual need to be there? I think it's just managers who are trying to justify their jobs in terms of having to manage people. I don't see that there's a need for a lot of oversight in companies when people have shown that they can still get the job done without all of that oversight. On top of that, I also want to say this. I was reading this study that black employees felt that they faced less discrimination when they got to work from home. There was less of that
no microaggressions.
No microaggressions.
And those are fluid.
Burns, do you prefer to work from home?
No, I like leaving home and going somewhere because I like having a place to look forward to.
What about you, BA?
I find myself more productive at home.
Yeah? Why?
I think it's so we can sleep in.
Do you sleep in on most days, BA?
Does the work get done, BA? Exactly. That's
Work
all that
always
matters.
gets done.
That's
always
all that
gets
matters.
done.
That's all that matters. All right, we asked people on the street how they feel. Here's what they had to say.
I've been working the whole time at my office, so for me it's good.
Oh, so you like being in the office?
Yeah, it gets me out of the house, right? And I get to see
Who are you
people.
trying to run away from?
Yeah, no. My son.
Do you have any friends that have to return back to the office?
Yeah, my husband will probably have to go back, and I will miss him because he's home and he can help out a lot. So, yeah.
Oh, you want him to stay at home?
To stay at home, stay home.
Just to help with the kids or for some other things?
To help with the kids and cooking and, the life.
But also for you personally, it's good to have him close.
It's good to have him close, and, well, do we
putting
talk
out
to
what
each
I'm
other?
saying. She's not catching it. She's not catching it. You're catching what I'm saying, right?
Is
She
it
has enough
good?
kids, she don't want no more.
Well, I don't know. I feel pretty good about it. It's not too bad.
Oh, you want to go back into the office?
Yeah, I don't mind it. Missed interaction with a lot of people, even though the last 2.5 years has been good. You know, I had a lot of time with my daughter who was born in 2020.
You're done with hearing all the crying?
No, I still enjoy it. I'm not gonna lie. It's still fun.
And what about your wife?
My wife is good.
Do you miss your wife?
All the time.
Okay, just making sure, just in case she needs that. It's good to miss a daughter, but don't forget the woman that birthed her.
I go to the office every day. It's just in my PJs and 5 feet.
Lucky you.
Yeah, I am lucky.
Do you think it's time to go back into the office let us know. And in the meantime, we have a one-on-one conversation this week that's spilling all the tea for you about Big Brother Canada. Fans, I know there are so many out there, so listen to this. I sat down with the incredible and talented Arisa Cox, the host of the show, and she gave me all the inside details on what you can expect from this season and even revealed some secrets from behind the scenes. Let's take a look. Arisa Cox, thanks so much for joining me here on the BG Show.
It is my pleasure. Huge fan. So happy to be here on the cusp of season 10 of Big Brother Canada. I am very, very passionate about this show that we create and that we've had. I mean, it's been such a blessing to help produce for a decade now, which, as you know, in Canadian TV, like, is very rare. The fact that this family of ours, in terms of people who make the show, who've been on the show, and who watch the show, has just grown and grown over the years. It's been such a joy.
I still literally remember season 1 and the chaos that ensued during the finale. What can we expect for season 10?
Okay, so here's what you do know about the show if you're a fan of the show. That it's a game inside a game inside a game inside a game, right? That's part of the reason I'm so attracted to this concept, because it's not just all the games that we throw at the house guests in terms of challenges and competitions, but there's the overarching game, of course, which is to try to get to the end, but not just get to the end. It's convincing the people that you may have hurt along the way, or manipulated, or backstabbed, what have you, to award you a bunch of money. So I love the levels of gaming that happen in the show. And then this year, we just decided to lean all the way into it for season 10. And so we've got all of these nods and references to retro game shows and modern game shows. The house, more than ever before, is purpose-built for the challenges and tasks and twists that we have coming, which is cool. This house is like another house guest because it is alive. It's got a lot going on. And then it's also full of Easter eggs for people who love the show, from things from seasons past that we might not always say, oh, by the way, this was something in season 3, but like if you watch season 3, you're like, oh my God, yeah!
Just in case people don't know, you're also not just the host of the show, but an EP as well. Like, that is huge.
I am so happy that ended up being part of my trajectory, as being part of the creative team who puts the show together, and that becomes in terms of casting, in terms of story, in terms of some of the goals we have as a production, not just diversifying the cast as much as possible, but also diversifying the people behind the cameras, because that is as important, if not more important. If you have people who are only visible, but the people behind the camera are not equipped to tell some of those stories, you're not gonna do what you need to do. You're not gonna do what needs to be done. Because once you start finding that beautiful human texture and variation in all areas of your production, everything levels up. Your stories level up, how important the show feels to different people levels up. And then if you're a leader there, then you show other productions in reality TV, and not even in reality TV, in scripted, and across North America, that me going from the host of this show to actually, and if I go even way back, being someone who was on one of the very first big reality TV shows in Canada back when I was like 22 years old. That was 20 years ago. And then to the place I find myself now, which is like year 10 of a wicked show. Yeah. And also being part of the executive production team. I mean, it is a dream come true. A dream I did not know I had.
Listen, I mean, we are heading into season 10 of BBCAN. Is there a season that stood out to you that you loved the most? And no disrespect to any of the other seasons, but there has to be one that you just loved the most.
Okay, so what you're doing right now is literally asking a parent to like, tell me which of your 10 children.
I want you to be biased for a second.
Which one do you like the most? I mean, you really cannot say. Because you have birthed them all. Okay, so that's how I feel. I have such a close connection with everyone who's played the game. But I'll say, if you ask a fan, and in varying orders, you will find season 2, season 5, and season 9. You see one pop up a lot because that was like the genesis, right? That's Gary Topaz. That is, you know, that's the beginning.
Listen.
Yo.
How did you keep your composure? Because that was wild.
Wait a minute. Wait, what?
And I'm so sorry, but the votes are final.
No, wait a minute. So Someone switched it. Don't do this to me.
No one switched it.
Don't do
These
this
are
to
the
me.
votes. I'm so sorry. There's so many things that could go wrong, and sometimes you have to allow for the realest moments ever to come, and those come when something really unexpected happens.
You know, you guys literally have like the most extravagant personalities that come on the show. I'm gonna be honest, like one of my favorite, with a capital E and a capital A at the end. Like I think of Aika. Like Aika literally to this day has some of the most iconic moments that even I sometimes I'm like, how the hell did she do that?
That was my letter.
I want to know, like, do you keep in touch with, like, you know, past players and the OGs and some of the winners? Like, what is that relationship
so
like?
Here's the truth. I am the host, and so I can't have a relationship like that. If we would never, ever, ever bring house guests back, maybe it'd be a different story. And I don't want to ever hamstring some other player's chance of coming back to play and get redemption. So I'm out here supporting everything they do. I'm out here supporting their podcasts and their YouTube shows and their interviews and their clothing lines and their like lashes line, like all support. But I want to see them play again. I know a lot of people do. So I'm here for that.
What is it like when you're walking the streets and you meet like the fans of Big Brother Canada? Like, what are those experiences like? What's been the craziest one for you?
So fun. Listen, anybody who's run into me at a grocery store, you know, there is nothing I like more than game talking in a grocery store. My daughter will literally go, here we go. And I'm like, oh my God, what did you think about? And what did you see? And who's your favorite? And oh, that was interesting. And what do you think is good? You know, I love those interactions because there's so much to talk about. I also get so many parents who say, thank you for allowing me to sit down and watch something entertaining with my teenager, but allow that show to be the entry point for some really, really important conversations. And not all parents can have these not so easy conversations with their kids. And our show allows them a chance to do that without feeling like preachy or fake.
That's amazing. I think that's the note to end it on. But you know me, like I always love to ask one last question. Is this gonna be the best season yet?
Is it? Wait, is that a question? There's nothing like the beginning of the season. The show comes up, you know, I'm trying to serve some like new premiere look, and it's brand new people who walk in that you don't know, and then you watch that. Remember, they've been in isolation for like weeks, and they finally get to walk through the doors and take off a mask and then be free and be around a whole bunch of other big personalities. It's so much fun at the beginning. And then there's so many stages. The jury stage is fun. The end game is fun. The audience, the viewers are the most incredible, shady, messy.
Yes, we love the backstabbing. We love the messiness.
We won't deny it.
Listen, Arisa, I am so excited for you. We will definitely be watching every single episode of Big Brother Canada. And thank you so much for coming on the BG Show.
Oh my God, I'm gonna see you soon. You better have me back.
I like Arisa. She's really a vibe.
I also think it's really cool to see somebody with so much talent in Canadian media who's actually stayed here in Canada as opposed to like going to Hollywood or New York or something like that. I can really respect her for that.
Next time we have to bring her like in studio or like take her somewhere and actually have a drink.
Yes.
Because I think her and I could get like pretty lit off the drinks. Anyhow, don't forget you can watch Big Brother Canada on Global. Okay, it's time for Doing Too Much, or maybe not quite enough, or who knows, but we really couldn't, you know, finish the show without telling you guys this, because there is someone who's doing too much this week, and it goes out to 52-year-old, and he's a pilot, James Clifton, and guess where he's from?
Florida.
He's a Florida man.
I read the notes.
Okay. Well, listen to this. He was pulled from the cockpit just because, just before he was taken off in Buffalo this week after airport security noticed he may have been a little tipsy on the alky. So listen, they called police in, and when they administered a breathalyzer, they found that he had a blood alcohol level that was 4 times the legal limit. Wow. The man was gonna try to fly the plane drunk, people. Well, did you know that pilots are actually not allowed to drink for 8 hours before flying? So because of that, And because he has no respect for people on the plane, and because he was trying to kill off people,
Because you can't trust anybody these days, apparently even a pilot.
he gets the official title of
Doing too much.
Doing too much.
Doing too much.
And that's that. And hopefully a black pilot will replace him.
Hopefully.
A reminder that News You Can Use drops every Tuesday and Friday. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel, tap that notification bell. Dev, finish it off.
Make sure to follow us across all of our social media, which you should already be doing, or how did you get here?
And drop your thoughts in the comment section. We love you for watching.
Bye.
Hey BG Squad, thanks so much for checking out our channel. And listen to this, we have more great content for you, like this video right here and this video right here. By the way, don't forget to subscribe to this channel right now and tap that notification bell.